I'm Jeremy Greer.
And I'm Gary Butterfield.
And this is Days of Future Cast, the podcast where we talk about the X-Men. We are picking up from the last episode where we covered Uncanny X-Men number 129, and we're just going to kind of plow through some Phoenix stuff, Gary. We're just going to keep going with Uncanny X-Men for a little while. How are you doing, my friend?
Doing all right. A couple weeks of the Dark Phoenix saga.
Yeah.
Excited. It worked out well because Dazzler shows up for the first time. And then, Hey Ladies Month, make way for Harry Leland. First appearance of that guy.
Really rounding this month out. You know, we like to be inclusive here on the Days of Future podcast.
Yeah. I forgot in my head that the Hellfire, this is essential X-Men lore, so it's stupid for me to forget. But my brain is turning into gross cheese. But I forgot that the Hellfire Club Phoenix stuff leads directly into Trial on the Moon Phoenix stuff.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I just imagine the X-Men looking back and being like, we were busy that week.
That's you know, that was a time, man. That was a real time, you know?
No, exactly. Then Cyclops quit right after. Fuck, man.
It's a whole experience, man. This is big X-Men stuff happening. A reminder for people who may not have caught the last few episodes, but this is the first episode in which we are changing the format. So no longer will there be smaller individual episodes. There's going to be one big fatty episode every month, every 2 weeks, which was originally how we started the podcast. And then we switched it to the smaller version when we started doing comic books. And now we're just going to switch it back because we want to. And because we're getting rid of the early feed. That's really the big thing. So we're just to let you know, this is going to be kind of a longer episode, and we're going to cover Uncanny X-Men 130 through 133. So,
yes.
You want to get into it?
One big chunk.
Yeah, chunk.
The classic Claremont Byrne era.
Mm-hmm.
You know, nothing needs to be said about either of those creators. We have talked about them a lot, and this is them at the height of their powers, which is why we got distracted from first appearance series to be like, man, this is pretty good. I want to figure out what happens to these X-Men.
Yeah.
We get this awesome cover here with Dazzler, with the showbiz version of the X-Men logo.
Love it.
With the lights on it. Love it.
Extremely good.
Just dazzling all of the X-Men.
Mm-hmm. The dramatic debut of the Dazzler. I love the Dazzler's logo too. It's very like what I would think of like Ren Fair for some reason. Like it's got Ren Fair vibes to me, but I think they were really going for disco vibes. So I don't know.
Ren Fair or like a pinball machine from the 70s.
Yeah. Like this should be a Wizards logo, right? Like this is this is very wizardy.
But then we get the cursive logo, multiple logos for Dazzler. They're going hard on Dazzler being a thing for somebody who quits the X-Men at the end of this.
Claremont loves this chick. Like, I love his millions of words have been spilled about Claremont's millions of words that he spilled, but like the flowery language that he uses for Dazzler's powers are so funny to me. Like we'll get into it, but he just really, really likes this chick.
Yeah, he's way into it. And I like Dazzler too. I love Dazzler. So it works out well for me. This isn't my favorite era of Dazzler or anything. No, this is great. So it starts off as we last issue, the X-Men split up because they found two powerful. They're called Neo Mutants in these books for some reason, but new mutants that they found. Half the team went to Chicago to meet Kitty Pryde, and then Nightcrawler, Cyclops, and Jean Grey have all gone to New York to meet Dazzler, but they don't know it's Dazzler. They have her narrowed down to like basically a building.
Yes. In a derelict area of Lower Manhattan, Delano Street, where everything is closed and only junkies live there full time. Jesus Christ.
Junkies
Claremont.
and disco artists. We get every one of these issues recaps who the X-Men are, what their powers are, and what happened last issue. It's maddening. So we go to the Hellfire Club spying on them
real quick
in their tech van.
Before we jump ahead, I just love the idea that Charles Xavier has his custom license plates as Chaz X1.
I didn't really notice he was Chaz.
Let's I'm going to call Professor Chaz.
Hey, Professor Chaz.
Hey, Professor Chaz.
There's probably like a shitty version of Wolverine who calls him Chaz instead of Chuck.
Of course. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And so, like you mentioned, they're there to find the mutants. The Hellfire Club knows that they're coming. And they relegate Nightcrawler here to just being outside to watching the car because it's a bad neighborhood because he looks bad.
Yeah, he won't wear. This comes later, but he's like, the professor's probably mad at me because I've decided I'll never wear my image inducer again. I am what God made me. I'm like, come on, man. You're gonna blow up Mutant Spot.
Yeah, but hey, at the same time, somebody does need to watch the Royce, right? I mean, come on.
You send Charles Xavier's nicest car to the worst neighborhood. I love how this sequence, the X-Men, at this time were really cool with kids, right? But whenever they have the X-Men, they're fucking squares. Like they show up here, they're dressed up, the way that they're dressed for this disco, and they're like walking into this like very hip underground club, just being like, "Ugh, this is filthy. It smells bad." Like they're so lame.
It feels like an indictment almost, but I'm like, you guys were like cool. Like what?
Yep.
It's so weird. All of the stuff in the background too, like all of the people in the background just make me want to go hang out at this club. Like I love dive bars like this. Like this would be, I don't know, like I've never been to a dive bar that plays disco, so obviously there's like a different thing. And it's kind of weird that there's a guy in an Anarchy shirt like at a disco club, but also was not alive for the disco era. Don't know what was going down back then. So
yeah, I don't. I love in that panel. So they split up to look for Dazzler. Jean Grey using her powers. Cyclops using his smaller version of Cerebro that's in his watch, which is great. I love this panel where he's like, what kind of mutant are we even going to find in a place like this? And these two people to the left, like one of which is like highly Joker-fied.
Yes.
With his weird Joker bride there. It's great.
You would almost call it a Joker Harley Quinn reference, except I don't think Harley Quinn had been invented at this time.
Oh, she certainly had.
Yeah.
But it could be the idea because the Joker's at this club.
Yeah.
Joker's left to be Anarchy to the right.
The Hellfire Club know that they're there. We jump over to this discussion between Jason Wingrave and Sebastian Shaw. Wingard, excuse me. Where's Wingrave from? That seems like a villain I know from somewhere.
You also call him Sebastian Shaw, but I that's okay as well.
Okay, well, if we just want to correct Jeremy today, we can. We can have an ongoing segment. We have plenty. You know what I'm saying? We have one big episode now, so we don't have to try to divide them all up. So we can have a segment for this podcast. It's just correcting Jeremy. That's fine.
For to be fair, it was like we have Jason Wingrave and Sebastian Shaw. And it was very funny. It sounded like you ate a stick of gum halfway through that sentence.
Yeah, I'm just over shoving Trident in my mouth in the middle of our podcast because I learned how to podcast from Jason Mantzoukas or something. I don't know why I beat up on that dude so much. I'm sorry, Jason. You seem like a fine guy. I don't know.
I'm sure he's nice. Not on social media. We can't tell.
Jason Wingard and Sebastian Shaw. I think this is the first time we've seen Sebastian Shaw. Like I know we've seen him in the background, but I don't know that we've seen his face yet.
This is the first time we've seen him close up. One thing I love about the Hellfire Club is that they look like old men.
Yeah.
Sebastian Shaw and Harry Leland are both just kind of like rotund old dudes, and Sebastian Shaw should probably shave.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I like that he kind of looks like shit.
This is after watching the Batman recently when they cast what's his name as the Penguin, the really handsome guy as the Penguin. Like rereading this made me just think like we can just hire fucked up dudes to play fucked up looking dudes. Like I mean, why make a pretty guy fucked up? Like if they ever redo the Hellfire Club again, like I don't want that dude to play Sebastian Shaw again. I just want a fucked up looking dude to play him, like with the fucking hairline that looks like it's trying to race back to Louisiana. Like
I would prefer that too. There's a great with the Batman, there's a great Onion article that was like Colin Farrell takes off over 5 pounds of makeup to play the Penguin. And it's like him talking about how freeing it is to finally be able to be himself and stuff.
I couldn't remember Colin Farrell's name at all.
I want ugly character actors.
Yes,
to play things. They're kind of going back. This is introducing a little bit of a conflict between Wingard and Shaw. Shaw kind of teasing him like, "Oh, you sure you got this Jean Grey thing taken care of?" And he's like, "Yeah, I've got it." They're checking with White Queen, who's in Chicago. It's like everything going well in Chicago. They got plans. And she goes over and she's got the X-Men in their underwear in a cage.
In like 3 bird cages. I really respect the White Queen for this, by the way. Like this is like this is
tight.
The cages, like number one, they've stripped him basically naked, so like it's demoralizing on that level. And then like also, we're gonna like the cages don't let you use your mutant powers. So you're like weak and you're kind of dumb, and it's just great, like good villain work here, right? Like this is just great villain work.
Yeah, they're just keeping Professor X asleep on a table with electricity.
Mm-hmm.
Really
good.
And she admits she's like, "Oh, we got everybody except for the girl," which is pretty good. You got the X-Men. And they're like, "Oh, that's no problem. She's just a girl." Of course, while Kitty Pryde is watching.
Yeah. We have a full fucking page of summary of what happened in the last issue before she sneaks over to Storm and tries to wake her up. And even though when they stripped her naked, they took all of her lockpicks and all of her secreted tools, they did not get the stitch of clothing with the phone number that was on it or something. I don't know what is happening here. What does she give Kitty?
She doesn't have a pen. So does this mean that Storm's clothing, she tags it with like, "In case you find this, call the X-Men"?
Property of Aurora Monroe. Is she going to summer camp? Like, what is happening right now?
Like what a debilitating secret for Storm, the most like with the most aplomb and poise of any X-Men. This regal goddess has to write her phone number on her clothing because she keeps losing it.
Because she keeps losing. Like, who makes her? This is definitely Xavier made her do this, right? He's like, I can't keep paying this exorbitant, unstable molecule price that fucking Reed Richards gets me over here, right? Like, you keep losing your unstable molecule underwear.
I discarded my earthly clothes. Just incredible stuff. So she rips off the tag of her clothing. And then writes with no pen or anything the phone number, I guess.
Yeah.
Or just had the phone number on there. Gives it to Kitty, but they get caught. I love this Hellfire Club goon. It's like, "Miss Frost, there's someone by the cages. It's a kid." The worst fucking guards.
Dude, the kind of secret stars of this little run are the Hellfire Guard clubs, because they all get names. There's Cal, and they're all kind of idiots, and I love them. Like, they're all great.
Just dopey guys in masks.
They chase after Kitty, who at 13 and a half years old has already kind of like outsmarted the Hellfire Club, because she just ran to where there were no doors and then jumped through a wall. So of course the Hellfire Guards have to double back to go to the doors. And Emma Frost sees this and is like, "You fucking idiots!" I think she calls them cretins.
So they're gonna go find her. We come back to the disco. Where Jean Grey can't find the mutant, and Jason Wingard walks up, grabs her shoulder, and teleports her back in time.
Yeah,
with his powers. This time, instead of back to medieval times, it's back to 18th century New York.
Yes,
like old New York, where they are in New England, and they're at the church that was at the place this was in New York.
Yeah, and he marries her. Like, he just straight up fucking marries her, like, as she's just hanging out in this disco club. And Sebastian Shaw is the one that is presiding over it. You've got all of the Hellfire Club, like, behind him. And when they're finished, and she whips off her veil and her cloak to reveal herself as to be the Black Queen. And this is the kind of the classic image of Jean Grey in the corset, the black corset, the black cloak, holding a whip. Just like really... Just making your metaphors really overt here, Chris.
It's Jean Grey's sexuality is coming out, with the Phoenix, her power. In real life, though, in the club, she just makes out with this dude in front of Scott.
Yes. Yeah.
I love the panel of her saying exclamation point question mark and him thinking it.
Yes. He's thinking, and it's the inverse too, which I think is really, really good, right? Like, very good stuff right there. Go ahead.
Hilarious Chris Claremont over texting where she's Scott, let me explain, and then goes on to think like 3 paragraphs like, but how do I explain? I'm not even sure what happened myself. Like
and this is when the announcer starts and says like, "Oh, hey, it's time for the main attraction," and it's Dazzler, which we of course know is a mutant nowadays, but Cyclops has to consult his calculator watch because that's what this is, right? That's got to be a calculator watch with the little Cerebro add-on to it.
Cerebro just says boobs if you put in the right combination of numbers,
which is how we got the Danger Room. That's
exactly.
That's canon, everybody. So he figures out that this Dazzler is their neo mutant. While outside, the phone rings and Chaz X1, the Rolls Royce.
This Nightcrawler goes down there, and also just when Dazzler's there, Cyclops is like, I don't know about disco, but this lady's good. Just everybody loves Dazzler, not just the writer. Nightcrawler grabs the phone, and Kitty Pryde's like, hey, hello, is this the X-Men? The X-Men have been kidnapped. Help us, I gotta go. And Nightcrawler's like, hold up.
Oh, wait.
Like, where are you?
Who are you? Where are you? What is going on? I do not understand anything about what's happening.
One of the Hellfire Club's big robots comes and rips the door off the car, off Chaz, sadly. And starts attacking Nightcrawler, and he has things to counter Nightcrawler's moves.
Yeah.
He hits him with like a sonic hairdryer, which makes it so he can't concentrate. He can walk up the wall to follow Nightcrawler. That's basically Nightcrawler countered.
And that's got him.
Got him. Got him too.
I've got magnets and I've got a hairdryer, and that's gonna get old Kurt. Inside the club, as Dazzler's reaching the peak of her performance, two other of these guards jump in, and they realize there's 3 mutants, even though they're only supposed to get 2. They're only supposed to target 2. Jean Grey uses her Phoenix powers for the first time to just transform their street clothes into their uniforms, which Scott is very surprised at. And this is going to be a bit that Scott keeps going back to. He's like, "Oh, this is very concerning, but why should it be?" Like, I'm like, I don't know, dude. Maybe you should talk to your wife. I'm just saying.
Yeah, say some of these thoughts out loud.
Yeah,
ding dongs. Like if you didn't do that, if you were constantly inner monologuing. So they start fighting these guys, but they are built to counter them again. The one who has to counter the Phoenix sticks her in an energy globe of some kind that it's implied to be based on the Professor Xavier's designs from the Danger Room, which doesn't get paid off in the issues we're reading here. And then the way they counter Cyclops is throwing ruby quartz glop at his face.
Yeah, that's a thing.
Yeah, there's ruby quartz glop.
I just like I love comic books so much, and I just you and I have spent probably most of our lives reading comic books, and then like there's a whole like huge population that read comic books, that take them very seriously, that have a good time with them, that pull out stories that are meaningful, and then you read something like this and you're like, ruby quartz glop, huh? That's what that's the thing. Okay, maybe I should.
Huh? It's very good. This causes Dazzler to take notice. And she's upset not because robots came in and started attacking these refugees from Starship Troopers, because they ruined her debut.
Yes.
And she zaps them. And they start talking about her power. Here early on, it's kind of before she knows how to make lasers. Later, I think that's probably Professor Xavier's going to train her. That, hey, lights is lasers. But as of now, all she can do is dazzle things by making a lot of light.
Which is cool.
Dazzler, for people who don't know, she turns sound into light, is her power.
Yes. Light in all of its infinite variety burst around the hapless man, instantly flooding his eyes, which, I don't know, that sounds cooler than lasers. It just sounds like a little bit harder to deal with on a mechanical basis than lasers. So
it just seems like, oh, you blinded me through this visor. It seems like I could just have sunglasses on and counter all of this.
He should have put the ruby quartz gloop on his head to prevent the light coming in.
Yeah. So he tries to zap her. She dodged out of the way, and Jean Grey obviously was not held by that stuff. So she gets out, she removes the glop, and the X-Men start fucking up the robots.
Yep.
As Nightcrawler comes in through the skylight.
And they're able to take him down very quickly. And then Nightcrawler explains that Kitty Pryde called them, and Dazzler comes up, and I love Dazzler's attitude in this. Absolutely, like hey hunk, number one, like extremely good.
You guys, the Avengers, yeah, so funny.
I bet Cyclops gets really annoyed of people asking if he's an Avenger. Like that would be something that he just gets really fucking.
This is the Avengers vs. X-Men crossover. The C's are right here, with Dazzler saying, "Hey, are you in the Avengers?"
Yes,
I'll get my revenge on those fuckers. And then the greatest panel in the crossover happens, which I totally forgot about as a kid.
Yes.
Like, either maybe I didn't notice it, but now it seems like the greatest thing ever. Where Dazzler's like, "Hey, call me Dazzler, darling. That's my name, and that's what I do. I dazzle people." And Cyclops goes, "You ever wondered where your light powers come from?" And she goes, "Nope,
not at all. I've never
that's
cared.
The panel.
Just never.
I could just always do it, and I just didn't think it was weird.
Yeah, it's such a strange thing compared to like how we know all of the like how the mutants got their powers, right? Like every single thing has been tied up in like this something, like, with Cyclops, he blasted open the school roof, or all of these
just
bad
had Kitty Pryde.
Yeah, like
the issue right before this, Kitty Pryde was freaking out and thinking she was going crazy because she was like sinking through the floor.
But Dazzler's like, nope, see, I'm a star. I shine like a star. I can make light like a star. Seems good.
Not talking to rain on a sunny day. Some things are just not my business. And then Cyclops, who's great because he doesn't get bowled over by this at all. Like, he was asking so she'd go, yeah, so he could tell her. She said no, but he just keeps going. I don't think what he says would change at all, whether she said yes or no. He says that you're a mutant, and she goes, "Are you serious? Like, what did you think?
What did you think was happening? What was going on?"
Are you serious? Listen, I never thought about it. I don't want to think about it, but I do not believe I'm a mutant. It's so weird.
Yeah.
Dazzler, you fucking weirdo. They take her with, for safety. And as they leave, they get in the car and they pass by Jason Wingard. Cyclops kind of angst about it. It's like, oh, that's who made out with Jean. Maybe he's connected. And they show his shadow looks different than his actual silhouette.
Yes. Yeah. Cool. It's a really, really cool shot. Like, I like this picture, this frame a whole lot. I also like the fact that the dude tore the door off the Rolls Royce and they're just driving around without a door now. That's very funny to
me. With a Nightcrawler about.
Yeah. Just because if anybody like falls out of a car, like you want it to be Nightcrawler because he could just teleport right in without you stopping.
Yeah.
Easy win. So.
Easy. You don't want to be Dazzler.
No.
Like, she'd probably just be like, win in Rome. and like, I have no problem with this. But the most easygoing mutant of all time. Yeah, and that's good. That's it for this issue. And now, because of the new format, we're going right into the next issue. No admin,
everybody.
Bam. 131, Prisoners of the White Queen. Every cover during this whole crossover is like absolutely classic, iconic, wonderful cover of 80s and 70s X-Men.
This stupid fucking app won't let me go back to the first page. Because I just finished reading them, so like it was on the last page. Yes, okay, thank you. I'm back.
There we go.
Love this.
They're back, baby.
Love this Emma Frost. Just with the X-Men in the cages, looking like they're like nightclub dancers or something. Like this, they're in the back. You could drop those three in the background of the Blade rave from Blade 1, and nobody would bat an eye. Absolutely.
I was just gonna say you could put that in Vampire the Masquerade.
Okay,
but it's very similar energies.
Yeah, we've got it. We're both on the same page, I think.
Yeah, they look like they belong. They're sexual objects for vampires.
Yes, absolutely. Which, if you think about it, we all are.
Well, Storm definitely was.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Great cover though. Mm-hmm. And we get right into it. We're switching back over to Chicago with Kitty Pryde, who has escaped out onto the street and is being chased. Running. You can see Chris Claremont did his homework because he's always name checking stuff like the Loop.
Just off the Loop.
It's like I know the Loop.
I know
Chicago.
Yeah, I've been there. Yeah. I've stayed at a Best Western in Chicago one time. I know all about this city.
Yeah. I know Loops. This car is chasing her at this point. She falls down and they're like, oh, we got her. And then Phoenix comes out of nowhere and makes the car crash into Phoenix Force.
Yes. And one dude who was not wearing a seatbelt just flies through the window, and that dude's not alive anymore. They may not mention it, but
it's implied, heavily implied.
Sorry, hey, Penny, shut up. Sorry.
What's up? Oh, rough.
Penny is our new puppy, and she is a lot more talkative than our other dogs. So she hasn't figured out that it's time to be quiet. So sorry about that.
No, everybody will like it. Everybody likes hearing animals.
Mm-hmm.
The back of podcasts. Kitty Pryde is scared, obviously, and then who comes down but Nightcrawler to grab her? Which, again, he decides not to wear an image inducer anymore.
Yeah, which is his right.
Carries rubble wall,
but also the child is 13 and a half.
Yeah, 13 and a half and doesn't know about night crawlers.
To be fair, we know none of us really did. So
no. Well, yeah, the commentary, Chuck Austin told us he has 2 dicks. None of us knew that. So Cyclops runs up, and this part is real weird to me, where he's really upset about her smashing the car. You know, like, I told you to stop the car, not turn it into instant junk. You know, like, who gives a shit about the Hellfire Club's property, dude?
Yeah, there's a 13-year-old child that they were about to like murder or like kidnap or whatever. But this is all going to like
the X-Men are in this era.
Oh yeah, dude, it's
come on,
it's
Cyclops.
Bad.
Yeah, the X-Men are very lame in the 70s. Cyclops is very upset about this property damage. Jean Grey justifies it. You know, they were going to kill that girl. Seems good. You know, Cyclops is like, I thought I'd seen Jean in every conceivable mood, but this is new. I've never seen her car smashing mad.
I mean, to be fair, like, I've been married to Autumn almost 18 years, and I've never seen her smash a car.
She's never fucked up the Hellfire Club's car?
Never, not a single time, dude. I mean, and she's had plenty of opportunities. Like, if there's one girl that could have done it, it's Autumn.
Yeah. At least key, like, just go up to Pierce's car and key it a little bit. I don't know. Like, whoa.
Pierce comes out like,
there,
who keyed the word slut in my car? That's really weird.
Yeah. God, I've never seen her so mad. When they get up to the roof where Nightcrawler took them, and she ran away from Nightcrawler because he's scary, and phased through the floor, Jean Grey turns herself back into her civilian uniform, which again freaks out Scott.
Yes.
And then she comes and finds Kitty, gives her a hug.
I think this issue does a really good job of just hammering home how terrified Kitty is in this. Like, she's, you know, she doesn't know Jean Grey. She's never met her before, but like, just the idea of that, you know, hey, I'm one of the X-Men and I'm here to help you. And she just collapses in Jean's arms. And like, the art on it too, like, she's skinned up, she looks exhausted. Like, it's been almost an entire day since she's been being chased. And it just did a really good job of hammering that home.
Yeah, it's great for because Jean Grey's very maternal.
Yes.
You know, like, I feel like if I were a scared lost kid, like, Jean Grey would feel, you know, very, very safe to me.
Agreed.
We cut over to them on the on their Blackbird, you know, on their ship, and they're kind of talking things through about what happened to the rest of the X-Men, and we're getting thought bubbles that kind of advance subplots. Nightcrawler's like, oh, the young girl doesn't like me. Dazzler's like, whoa, this is crazy. I'm next to the X-Men. You know, that's weird. But she's just recapping basically what happened to the X-Men getting kidnapped.
I do love that Dazzler being next to the X-Men just fits in because her disco uniform is just basically an X-Men uniform.
Yeah.
Like, it just looks great.
Yeah, she looks great. Jean Grey mind scans one of the Hellfire Club goons to figure out what's happening there. Learning about the Hellfire Club and such. And she notices Jason Wingard in there and is freaked out by it, but does not share this with Scott.
Yes.
Very meaningfully. Keeps that a secret.
I do. That is one thing that I think a lot of the early X-Men stuff relies on, is like characters keeping secrets from one another. And it can get a little bit exhausting of like, oh, this whole thing would have maybe been sidetracked if you just had a conversation with somebody.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, very similar to the TV show Supernatural. So a lot of the similar.
I know. I believe it because they're both like, you know, soap operas.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
You know, in a big bad way. Like, and it's the kind of thing that I like. It causes a lot of interesting stories to happen. It does get exhausting.
Yes.
To me, because it is on its surface, it is characters acting dumb, and that can take me out of something if like the characters are just not being smart.
Exactly.
You know, not trying to YouTube explain what everyone did wrong or how to survive horror movies or anything stupid like that. But I do sometimes think that, like, I don't know, for stakes, for me to buy into this world, you want to survive. Your best chance to survive is in a world where like Proteuses are about.
Yeah.
They just went and fought Proteus. She knows about reality control and mind control. It doesn't make any sense for her to keep this a secret.
Yeah.
You know,
but it was refreshing in that issue of the Avengers where, you know, Carol Danvers was like, you just let me go away with a mind control guy. Like, you guys knew that he was a mind control guy. Like, and it feels very much like, oh, Jean, like you should kind of identify that you're being mind controlled, and like it's not as if she's being separated from the X-Men. Like it's not like they're out ostracizing her. You know what I'm saying? Like she's got a good relationship with Scott right now and the rest of the team. So, but that's okay.
Like
oh, go ahead.
Yeah, what they're going for is that she likes it a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, she likes the attention and stuff like that. It just ends up being like the stakes are too high for it. Like, it's not that it makes no sense. It's just when it might end the world and get all of her friends killed, you'd expect some more maturity from like one of the oldest members of the X-Men.
Yeah.
But we do not get it. They've done this little gambit here where they've tied themselves up, put themselves in the back of the car, and Jean Grey has piloted one of these guys to drive them into the Hellfire Club.
I love this so much. Number one, we find out that one of the Hellfire Club's guys is named Sal, aka Sally. And then the other guy who's watching the door is named Elton, of all people.
The way they talk is great. Pay dirt, my man.
Yeah. The X-Men, how'd you do it, Sally? You got the whole team.
Yeah. They're very enthusiastic.
Yeah.
Very sweet.
The White Queen is a little bit suspicious because she's like, that's most impressive because they were not, Salvatore's team was not equipped to tangle with them. Like, that's just very good.
Yeah, she knows them all on a first name basis, despite their mask. Love it. We cut over, she goes to where she's mind probing Storm. She's trying to mind probe the X-Men and get them on their side. Is what I get from this. We later find out what the Hellfire Club wants with the X-Men. It's borderline incomprehensible.
Yes, I don't...
and it doesn't seem like they all want the same thing with the X-Men.
It kind of feels like it's one of those things where, hey, we all want... let's just get the X-Men here. Right? The plan B will happen later. Plan A is get the X-Men here. I want them here right now.
The important thing is getting them nude and in cages.
Yes.
And then what happens after that, I
don't really care. We're not. Look, that's a different conference call, Gary.
After you captured him? Nope.
Nope. Not concerned at all.
Nope. Nope. She's trying to mind probe Storm. Storm's still putting up a fight. This is putting them in a different room so Kitty Pryde can sneak into the room where Colossus and Wolverine are in their sex cages.
Yes.
And she's supposed to... Cyclops gave her this very insulting order of operations of get Storm out, and then Storm's out there, get Wolverine out. And if you're there and you can get Colossus out, do it, but don't worry about him too much.
Yeah. Also, if you see a bald guy, just go ahead and shove him in the corner. Like put him in a fucking trash can.
Him at all.
There. Yeah.
Shut down the minds of everybody in this building, but just don't worry about him at all. Get Wolverine out.
The reveal at the end of this with Xavier, I think, is very hilarious too. We'll get to it in a second, but yeah, she frees Wolverine, who very quickly recovers, of course. But as he's recovering, one of the Hellfire guards shoots Kitty with his little zap gun, which of course makes Wolverine very angry, and he's going to murderize the hell out of them.
Why is his eyes and claws glowing?
I don't know, man.
Is it weird?
It's weird. I thought because it's the same, almost the same effect as her getting zapped. So I for a minute I was like, oh, it's just like stylish, like he's looking. So it's like like a moment of like, oh, I see you, and then the claws coming out. And it's like or whatever. But it also
draw your attention to it.
Yeah, but also their claws. I'm gonna see them in the panel.
Yeah. They have a big snick sound effect, and he puts them right in your face. It's a weird touch, and I don't know I don't get it.
Yeah.
What's happening here? We cut back outside to this infiltration plan. Hey, there's Sal's car. Hey, Jacko, keep fretting like that, you're gonna get an ulcer. Like the Hellfire Club guys are just having fun. They get up there into the compound, and the X-Men's big plan takes off at this point, which could have been accomplished, it feels like, by teleporting over the wall or having Jean Grey fly them over.
Mm-hmm.
Because they didn't get into the base or anything. They just got out of into the parking lot, and then Cyclops just blasts the ceiling open.
Yeah, I kind of question some of this, but also I don't care, because anytime Cyclops gets to blow up a car from the inside out, I'm kind of here for it.
That's great. Where is so Jean Grey had put this car back together as well. I forgot this is the same car.
Yeah.
I imagine Cyclops making her do it and then blowing the top off the car, and just Jean Grey
as a lesson. You think?
Yeah, you can do it, but I can't. This is horseshit. They all come out. There's this great little side view panel of them all blasting off. They're dazzled. They dazzle all the guards.
Yes,
so they can sneak in.
It's very good stuff.
Not really sneak. They come in fighting.
One of the Hellfire guards is surprised. He's like, "What? The alert! We're under attack!"
Yeah, I love it.
I love people being very surprised when their warning signs go off. Like that's what the warning sign is for. I didn't
expect that to happen. Did you notice that Dazzler is roller skating?
Gary, she's on quads.
Yep.
Oh my
roller
god!
Skates through this whole thing, dude.
That makes this
so cool.
1,000% better, my dude. This is so fucking great.
Dazzler, did you ever think that it might be good to get shoes for this paramilitary operation?
No.
Nope.
No. Absolutely not. I'm not an X-Men. I'm a disco star.
Yeah. Get out of here with your uniform, Cyclops.
Get the fuck gone, man. This is
Dazzler is so good. God, I love Dazzler. They're going to fight. You know, the X-Men. Of course, that's what they're going to do. Emma Frost is about to try to turn Storm against the X-Men when Jean Grey comes in, and Jean Grey's real scary here. They give her the scary text box since she's in Phoenix form. They give her the scary eyes, and she's like, basically all this stuff like lays tons of ground for the Grant Morrison X-Men.
Yeah,
weirdly enough, this is her like rummaging. Like this is when she comes in and like busted on them cheating. You know, this is the first time she's just gone and like fucked up Emma Frost's brain.
Yep. And it looks it looks very scary. Like I'm a little stressed about it.
Yeah, it's great. We get more Hellfire Club guys talking to each other. Mancusi and Skipper getting a lot of real good names for these Hellfire.
Elton,
guys.
Salvatore, Mancusi, and Skipper. And I forgot the other one from the last page. So like, what a fucking team crew. Up, dude! Fucking great.
Yeah.
Cyclops, excuse me. Colossus comes out with Wolverine carrying Kitty Pryde. Colossus. I don't know why I keep doing that. Colossus, when he's not in his like metal form and underwear, like that's just a very scary looking dude.
Yeah. It's real Trashenstein the Exquisite Corpse.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. He turns into metal to block the shot and then punches the Hellfire Club member. He, of course, has to internally, complain about this. Like, I am ashamed at my anger. But Kitty Pryde is looking at him very impressed. This is setting up their relationship, which is fucked up.
Super fucked up. Yeah. Let's not.
Should not be saying this up this early and should never have happened, of course.
Yeah, absolutely. They all get it together. Wolverine says, I can get to Storm because I've been following her scent. And they they're racing to where Emma Frost and Jean Grey are fighting. Of course, Storm is witnessing this, and Jean Grey kind of played with Emma Frost at first, just, hey, I'm just going to kind of get the measure of her. And then as she figured it out, she's like, oh, now it's time to unleash the Phoenix Force. And Storm is like terrified of this. Like, holy shit, I haven't seen her do this since, she saved the universe with the McCran crystal. As we see,
can you imagine what she'd do to a car?
What do you see when she does? Honda stockholders are terrified of this one simple trick.
Detroit hates her. So she absolutely, dumpsters Emma Frost, and Emma Frost, to get back, puts all of her psychic power into one little bolt. Her final last move, which is a big Chris Claremont cliche, zaps Phoenix with it, which causes Phoenix to explode like bodily and blow up one of these buildings in the compound, landing all this rubble, leaving all this rubble on them.
Yep. Of course,
Scott thinks Jean's hurt.
Yep.
Runs up, and she's fine.
Everybody's totally good,
of course,
including the professor, who just wheels himself up and is like, I knew I was right not doing anything to assist you guys. Everybody was in mortal danger, but I just wanted to see how you performed. It was all a test.
I 100% was like, oh, this is Jason Wingard.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because it would make a lot of sense, and something is not right, but it's all on Jean. Because it's like, oh, this whole thing's a dream sequence. This is like the end of Nightmare on Elm Street. They immediately, like, they're all standing around and it says so quickly, quietly, and they immediately go back to Chicago. And they're just like teleported there. They're all dressed up in their like dorky formal wear. They're offering Dazzler a job, and she's like, nah, Would you like to join us?
No, definitely not.
She goes off to go do her own thing.
Yep. And Professor Xavier's like, don't worry about her, Cyclops. I did a mind scan. She's friendly. Cyclops is like, that seems weird.
Jesus Christ. Well, and then Kitty Pryde's parents are very upset, of course, and Jean Grey is not having it. They're freaking out on him, and she changes their minds. We're impressed by you. We would like Kitty to come to your school. And Xavier's a little bit put off by this, but Scott is really like, oh shit, Jean doesn't do this. It's fucked up.
Yeah, and to be frank, Xavier's not near about as put off by this as he should be.
No. It's like, I learned it from you, Dad. I learned it from you. Scott calls her out. Did you do this? And Jean's like, yeah, I did it. Like, he was being fucking obnoxious. No harm done. And now it's over.
And that's it. We don't have to worry about it. Yeah, it's kind of it's a weird moment. And even like Storm is like, did she do what I think she did? She's like, yeah, I guess, man. I don't know. This is weird. Cyclops has no idea how to handle this.
She's fucking terrifying, bro. Mm-hmm. Like Storm and Scott are just having this little thing. I love Kitty Pryde's parents being like, we have brunch makings in the fridge. Just because in the next issue, there's like, we have lunch makings in the fridge. Some kind of weird Chris Claremont tick.
Yeah, makings. Very, very funny to me. But that's this issue. And I think we end with kind of just a general warning of like Storm being like, there's something dark about the Phoenix.
Yep.
And of course we haven't, up to this point, we don't know what a dark Phoenix is, right? Like that's never happened before. So it just, in hindsight, it just feels a little hammy, I think.
We cut out the next issue, 132, also a great cover. The Hellfire Club all standing around. I love Wingard resting his feet on Colossus's head. And then Sebastian Shaw just throwing Storm on a big pile of dead X-Men. Mm-hmm. And it's like, she's the last one. The Hellfire Club has defeated the X-Men. I miss dialogue on comic book covers so much.
I do too. I think it's a lot of fun.
It's so cheesy and fun.
It's always a good time. We have gone from Chicago, and instead of going back to New York to the mansion, we have headed over to New Mexico, where for some reason billionaire fucking Warren Worthington is hanging out in New Mexico for some reason. Like, what are you doing in New Mexico, my dog?
No. He's literally like, there's one of my favorite one-liner jokes, right? Is I don't understand why a bird would ever live in a bad neighborhood. Warren Worthington is not only a very rich man, he's also a fucking bird.
Yeah. He could just go anywhere. He doesn't need
to live in New Mexico.
Yeah.
Like, it's so weird. But they've gone, the X-Men have brought there to reunite and also to hide out for a minute. And this is going to cause the funniest subplot of this issue, which is, well, I mean, there's many very funny subplots. Like this whole first couple of pages is fucking wild.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
That's happening here. So everyone's reuniting. Jean Grey walks up to Warren's like, good looking, they're looking good, Blondie. Not so bad yourself, Red. And then they make out.
Yeah.
Kiss on the lips.
Kiss on the lips, dude.
Like friends.
I don't do a lot of like kissing, familiar kissing with people. Like obviously I kiss my wife, but like it's very rare that I'm even with family where I'm like, let's have a kiss on the lips because we're like that. Not down with that stuff at all. So like if I watched Autumn,
you never do it on the lips.
Yeah, maybe on the like cheek or something, maybe, but like even then,
cheek is fine. I think
somebody would have had to die, right? Like it needs to be an emotional time.
Yeah, a cheek kiss I think is nice. Yeah, can be very nice. Or a head kiss, like top of the head.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
Like I'm tall, like I see like a friend I haven't seen in a very long time. And like when my buddy got married, like a little instinctively gave him a little kiss on the head.
Okay, sure. Yeah.
But not on his lips.
No.
in front of his wife.
In front of his wife.
Yeah, which is what happens here in front of two wives. It'd be like in front of my wife and his wife.
Yeah, not.
It's incredible.
It's and Scott is like, but it's whoever this other chick is, Candy Southern.
Candy Southern, who has been Warren Worthington's girlfriend for a really long time. I forgot she was around this early. Like she's a big deal in the 90s. She gets bodied by the Phalanx Covenant at one point.
Good for Candy Southern. I don't know. Like for Chris Claremont invented Rogue, right? Like
Yeah.
I mean, like, or maybe not invented, but like, obviously, like, made Rogue what she is, which is a Southern chick. So the idea that he would then name somebody Candy Southern is just bonkers to me. Like, what are we doing here, guys?
That's real weird. She's like, "Hey, stop making out with him," and Scott's like, "I don't like this." They're introduced to is Warren's girlfriend. Cyclops is like, "Can we talk somewhere private?" And then Warren Worthington's like, "Yup, hup," and then just grabs him and flies him off. And Scott's like, "What the? Warren, no!"
Just takes him to a mountain.
Just fly off to the middle of nowhere. The beginning of this comic is so good. And then Xavier is like, "Scott disobeyed my instructions about bringing the X-Men here rather than our headquarters." And he flies out with no explaining. I don't understand why he's behaving so strangely. It's really good. Everyone is angsting in the dumbest, funnest ways.
Scott kind of explains everything, and what you've complained about already a couple of times, like in a kind of a catch-up fashion. But at this time, instead of explaining it to the reader, he explains it to Warren Worthington of everything that's been happening with the Hellfire Club, and thinking that, like, and Warren surprisingly is like, "Hey, wait a minute."
I love that. I love this.
I'm a member. That place sucks.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been there. We went there once. It really sucked. But yeah, I got a membership from my dad. Are you sure this is what's going on? And he's like, "Yeah, absolutely. I brought the X-Men here because I don't feel like our base is safe. I've just been worried about what's going on with Jean." And as soon as he says Jean just pops up.
Hello.
Out of nowhere. Yeah, it's great. Arrive.
The problem with having a psychic girlfriend.
100%. Everyone's surprised. Warren Worthington's like, I take it I'm not needed here. And you'll go far with that feeling. Get out of here. And this is because Jean Grey has brought a sex picnic to Cyclops on this butte.
Yeah. I mean, sure. Okay.
Dude, it's momentous. Removes her clothes, like goes into like loungewear there. They all sit down on the sex picnic to get here. And she's trying to tell Cyclops to relax. This is a very famous scene in the X-Men that gets flashed back to a lot.
Yeah.
Where she takes off his visor. He freaks out, but she can hold back his beams with her power.
Yes. So presumably this is them having sex for the first time, right?
No. I think they've had sex before. I think this is the first time they've had sex without the visor.
You can't tell me
it's the first time.
You can't tell me. I mean, come on, dude. Like, give me one. I think this is the first time it ever happened.
It could certainly be the first time. Immediately afterwards, she's like, "Let's form a permanent psychic bond." So that could be what.
That's what I'm saying.
Claremont's saying about this. Yeah.
You only do that if you take someone's virginity. That's the way that virginity works, Gary.
One of my favorite moments from when I first got back into comics, there's a comic called Phoenix Endsong, which is pretty good. It's kind of like a sequel to the Grant Morrison X-Men a little bit, and the Phoenix Force shit. But a really great moment in it is Emma Frost takes Cyclops, like they're together at this point, takes Cyclops to this like private place, and they're in like a sphere of some kind. I can't remember. Like they're in like a clubhouse. And she's like, "Here, take off your mask," and he's like, no, I can't. Don't be dumb. And she's like, no, I'll just turn into a diamond. You can't hurt me there. And it's a parallel of this, obviously, but it doesn't work. Like when he does it, it just, the beams refract off of her.
Oh,
like it doesn't hurt her, but it just makes the inside of this sphere like a nightmare.
Oh, I remember.
And she's like, "Yeah, I guess I was stupid," and puts the goggles back on.
Yeah, I do. I remember that all going down now, because I remember reading Phoenix Endsong thinking like, "Oh, let me see what happened to the Phoenix."
Yeah. And it's a nice little reference to this. Like this works with Jean Grey and Emma Frost being kind of a worse version of Jean Grey in a lot of ways. In terms of power, her version can't compete.
Yeah.
Like her trying to recreate this romantic moment. Yeah, great moment. And that pretty good comic.
And we're gonna
has a sequel. It's one of the worst comics I've ever read. They never read Phoenix War Song. It's garbage.
They spend a week just chilling in New Mexico. Just doing some Breaking Bad shit in New Mexico, throwing pizzas, cooking drugs,
fucking on buttes.
And then it's time to sneak into the Hellfire Club all of a sudden. So we go back to New York.
Yes.
Wolverine and Nightcrawler in the sewers. Wolverine looks like it cuts the wiring, but he cuts the installation because if it later on it could be an unscheduled blackout, and that could help us. And at least in these issues, it never happens. So I can't wait for that to happen.
Yeah. The Chekhov's blackout.
Mm-hmm.
They're heading in. The X-Men are going in incognito under assumed identities. I love how inconspicuous the X-Men think they are.
Yeah.
With Storm and Cyclops.
Yeah, we're definitely just going to go in with a, like a fake invitation. Like nobody can, like you're not universally recognized by this group already.
Yeah. Super good. Xavier's, complaining to Scott, and Scott's like, no, we have to do it. And we get a little bit of stuff with Angel and Xavier. Xavier recognizes he's been being kind of a dick.
Yes.
And he's just worried because he won't be able to stay in psychic contact with the team. They're growing up.
I like this as a subplot a lot of just Xavier not knowing how to let go of the X-Men. Like we kind of laughed at this when he was giving Wolverine demerits, but him actually having a little self-reflection here and going like, man, like this is really fucking weird. I don't like this at all. This sucks.
Yeah,
it's good.
It's good. I mean, that's a classic Claremont thing. Like the character movement is good. It's just exaggerated and silly.
Mm-hmm.
They come in, everyone is kind of just having subplot thoughts. Like Colossus out of nowhere is like, I haven't had clothes this fine in forever. These cost more than my father would make in a year. It's been forever since I've been to my homeland. I miss it more every day. And I'm like, this is not the time.
Yeah.
Eyes on the fucking game.
Button it up, dude. What are you doing? We're on a mission.
Focus, dude.
Xavier can read your mind and fix you later. Okay. This is not the time for that.
So they're staggering in. They're coming in 2 by 2, so as not to be too conspicuous. And Pierce sees them on the monitor, which like they should have guessed.
Yeah, 100%.
Again, they're not very slick. Shaw says to Wingard, well, yeah, if you've been bragging about how you control the Phoenix, she should be the vanguard of our attack.
Yes,
like make her attack the X-Men. And he's like, I'm up to the challenge.
Scott and Jean Grey have decided to blend in by dancing, and Jason just comes up and just grabs her, and instantly she's transported back into the 1800s again, where I love Cyclops just hand on hips, because he's doing that in like the modern time too. Like, God, can't believe this happened again. It's really funny to me.
And then we get this like, what happened during this week. And he's like, yeah, she told me about her time slips, so basically she let Scott in on everything at this point. So he's like, oh, this is no good. He starts taking Jean upstairs, which I love this. Like, Jean, wait up, Jean.
I feel like the whole cuck thing has run its course on the internet, and as far as like humor goes, but like, I can't help but like, it just as he's chasing her, like it's a real like, hey, bring my wife back. What are you doing? Like it's a real emasculating thing that they're doing to Cyclops.
Return my wife, please. It's very emasculating. And for a second, as Jason Wingard looks back, he reveals who he is. His illusion drops, and he's Mastermind from the original Brotherhood of Evil Mutants. Dun dun dun. Cyclops notices this, heads on up to try to get Jean, but Jean has been converted into the Dark Phoenix and blast him.
Or into the Black Queen.
Or the Black Queen. Yeah. What did I say?
The Dark Phoenix.
Phoenix Queen?
Mm-hmm. You said Dark Phoenix, which is not like...
Not yet.
You were close. Yeah. She just fucking blasted him to the point that Jason's like, oh shit, is he dead? It's like, no. The other X-Men here, and now we get to see like a really cool series of like introductions to the Hellfire Club powers. So Cyclops meets... I can't...
Colossus.
I did it again. Like the fourth or fucking time, dude. It's fucking weird. Colossus meets Sebastian Shaw, and we learn what his powers are, which is basically to absorb kinetic energy. So when Cyclops hits him and even like pulls the punch...
Colossus!
That time I just did it as a joke. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. Oh, well, you got me, so well done. They got me good.
Gary, it wasn't a joke.
Oh, well, then you got me again.
I feel like I might be having a stroke on the mic. What am I doing?
Well, let's call somebody. Colossus, Peter.
Yes.
There we go.
He hits Sebastian Shaw, and he pulls the punch, thinking like, I don't want to hurt this dude. But of course, Shaw absorbs it and just punches the fuck out of Colossus.
Yep. Colossus then doesn't pull his punch, and then Sebastian Shaw picks him up and swings him through a wall.
Fantastic.
Extremely cool fight.
Yeah.
It was great. The Storm is just kind of flying around trying to avoid getting grabbed.
Yeah.
We cut back over to where Nightcrawler's at. He's down in the basement with Wolverine. They just snuck in. It's a multi-pronged attack.
Mm-hmm.
But they get captured by Pierce, villain of Logan.
Yep.
Weirdly enough.
Very weird villain for that, but sure, whatever. It works.
Grabs Nightcrawler by the neck and is zapping him. And then Wolverine tries to cut through his arm, cannot quite cut through his arm.
Yeah.
And then he tosses Wolverine into a bunch of boxes. He is a cyborg.
Yep.
That's his power.
And then it's time to meet our buddy Harry Leland.
I love Harry Leland.
Harry Leland is a man of girth, which Wolverine seizes on for many, many jokes, calling him Tubby and Fatso immediately.
He's not just a normal fat guy. So like I feel like I have fat guy distribution in my body.
Okay.
By which I mean it's mostly torso.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think most fat dudes look a little bit like a potato with toothpicks for legs.
Mm-hmm.
But Harry Leland is all hips. Like he is shaped like an egg in a way that's like, or pear-shaped in like an incredible way.
Yeah. I sometimes have to look for shirts that are like extra tall, like extra large sometimes like goes out, whereas I really need shirts to like need them to be longer because I'm a taller dude. I feel like he needs like it's all slim up top. And then he needs something to get around. He's going to dress like a Southern belle, basically. It's like I want my shirts to look like an old style Southern belle dress.
Do you have something in a cone I can wear? Like he's so good, and I love his personality in this because they're all aristocratic gentlemen stuff. He like introduces himself and he keeps calling Wolverine dear boy.
Very good.
Which I love. And he has very cool powers where he changes the density of things.
Yeah.
Or their mass, rather.
Mm-hmm.
So this dear boy, he gets Wolverine's mass increased. Wolverine can barely stand up. And Wolverine doesn't give up. He ends up just flying through the floor and going down into the sewer drain, being flooded away. Very cool.
Which is going to set us up for something extremely cool later.
Yes.
Storm is still trying to...
I love Harry Leland being like, my goodness.
Whoa.
When it happens. Like,
my dear boy, where did you go?
It's very good.
Storm is kind of flying through this house and trying to use her lightning powers to break open windows, and it will not work when Sebastian Shaw grabs her. And even though she tries to put up a fight, he just knocks her the fuck out. And then we get the kind of the scene from the cover where he just comes in and dumps her on the floor with Colossus, Cyclops, and Nightcrawler as all of the Hellfire Club like gloat over this, including the Black Queen. The most notable thing that happens here, though, is Jason and Sebastian Shaw kind of sniping at one another about, oh, well, you couldn't have done this if I hadn't seduced the Black Queen. And Shaw being like, I could have done it with my fucking eyes closed, you scamp, or whatever. Setting up this eventual
It's weird.
thing.
It's Pierce and Wingard who do that, but Sebastian Shaw has to keep the peace.
Oh, my bad. I got it mixed up.
It's this weird thing. Like Shaw's like, oh, he's testing Pierce, but he's really testing me to see if I can be a good leader. It's complicated and dumb.
Yeah.
Sorry, not your fault. But it's and also one of the panels where he's talking to Pierce, they just showed Shaw.
Okay.
And you only know it's Pierce from context clues. It's it's a little sloppy.
They all toast the Black Queen who made this happen. And we get one of the most iconic X-Men panels of all time, with Wolverine in the sewers with the shadows over him, saying, okay, you had your best shot, and now it is my turn.
Yeah. You want Wolverine out there. If you get captured. And we get a Wolverine alone. Enough said.
Enough said. I love it.
Classic.
Yeah. And again, that's going to lead us directly into the next issue, which is Uncanny X-Men 133. Man, not doing admin every 20 minutes, Gary. This is weird.
It's good. Yeah, it's making the episode fly by.
It feels like it, right? Did we really spend that much time on admin?
I don't know. Will we warm up and warm down?
I guess so.
We ask how each other's doing.
Yeah.
I have no idea if you're still doing all right.
I don't know, man. I
haven't checked. I haven't checked in an hour.
Obviously, I'm not, since I keep calling Colossus Cyclops at every opportunity, man. I don't.
Yeah. For a peek behind the curtain, we have a time constraint today as well.
Yeah.
So we're racing a time thing. So if anyone's disappointed and thinks that every single mega episode will feel rushed, we're under a schedule, a deadline.
It will only be the ones where Jeremy had a spontaneous conference call and was trying to fit a whole day in.
Yeah. Conference call. What fucking century is this? No sympathy for Jeremy. He's gonna fax me over this conference call. X-Men 133, very famous cover of Wolverine just taking out like a bunch of Hellfire Club guards at once. And that's what this is going to be about. We start off with him doing the cool thing where you like press yourself up in the ceiling,
Oh yeah,
like Tenchu.
Love that.
As they're hunting for him. Super good. I hope the Wolverine video game that comes out has this kind of shit.
Are they doing a Wolverine game? Do I remember who's doing that?
Yeah.
Do I not remember that?
The same people who did Spider-Man.
Oh, they did announce that. That's right. I got overshadowed with the Venom thing from the trailer for the Spider-Man.
Yeah, thing. Insomniac's making it.
Ooh, baby.
I am excited about that.
And they canceled E3, so we can't even look forward to the summer full of trailers, Gary. How disappointing.
I don't even want a trailer. I'm going to pre-order it and I'll play it right away. Insomniac making a Wolverine game? Give me a break.
Did you ever do?
I love those Spider-Man games.
A Wolverine kind of build in Dark Souls or Elden Ring now? Have you done the dual claws thing?
I did. So my third character that I made to kind of play at the pace of the show and check out a couple things, which I don't know if I'll continue to take him all the way through. I started off as a faith build, and I ended up using the Cypher Pata, which is the closest thing to a Wolverine build that I did. It's a claws made out of words, as opposed to adamantium, but it controls the same way. It's pretty fun. Like dual wield, like Cessa stuff's pretty fun.
Yeah, I did some fist stuff, and it's I like that moveset a whole lot. It's a lot of fun. So.
Yeah, very cool. They're looking for Wolverine. They don't know that he's right above them. And then some water drips down and they're saying like, oh, he must have been drowned. This is a waste of our time. Of course, just these cliches. But then water drips down and he comes down and takes him out.
Yes. And he, this is classic Wolverine stuff of just slashing, getting shot, but it doesn't affect him that much. And, just killing some folks.
Yeah. Yeah, slashing, doing the thing that happens a lot where they have to leave it ambiguous whether he kills them. Mm-hmm. So he slashes across their chest. In a way that would certainly open up your chest, but maybe if you were at a hospital, you'd be okay. And we get another very famous X-Men moment here where there's just one of the goons left who tries to threaten him, and he does a Dirty Harry thing.
Yes,
to him.
And how many people nowadays? Like, does that reference work? Like, I feel like nobody has talked about Dirty Harry in a really long time.
Nor should they. Like, those movies are really like high key fascist.
Yeah, they're not good.
Yeah, like they're politically real odious.
Yeah, absolutely.
But they're for a long time it was very famous to have this like speech. I know what you're thinking. Kind of talking down a thug. Mm-hmm. And this is Wolverine talking himself up.
Yes.
That's great.
And the dude stops, like he drops his weapon, and then Wolverine jumps at him. He's like, "Wait a minute, I surrender! What are you doing?"
Yeah, Wolverine, I summarily execute him. It looks like for a second he lifts him up with his claw, but it's just his hand. Yeah, he's gonna interrogate him. He's like, "I'm not gonna hurt you. Just tell me what I need to know."
We cut over to the Hellfire Club, who Sebastian Shaw has put on a robe at this point, which I really, really like. And they've got the main X-Men all like collared and chained, and then just yet another emasculating moment for Cyclops. Yep. They've got like a ruby quartz hood on him where he can't see anything.
It's a weird helmet that it has a cool superhero pattern on it.
Yeah,
it has a big X on it. Like they made it unique for him.
Somebody did some work on this. Like one of these chicks that don't get named that are in the background just serving drinks probably had to make
the
this.
Beige Queen,
or
something.
Yeah, the Fuchsia Princess had to do like a lot. I don't know how to like sew ruby quartz. Like what the fuck?
Yeah, it's a fucking gem. What is up with you making glump out of it?
Do I look like fucking Steven Universe over here? I can't just like make this shit happen, dog.
This alchemy you're demanding of me. That's an Excalibur.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Shaw is congratulating Wingard what he's done and being like, oh, he's gonna be trouble. He's gonna come after me, because he's gonna, now that he has the Phoenix, has the Black Queen. Mm-hmm. It's very powerful. I'm gonna show him, and then he kisses Jean Grey and thinks the same thing.
Yes.
Like, I'm gonna show Shaw, but first I'm gonna enjoy the fruits of my victory. He's gonna get in some making out. There are gross shades of mind control and somebody to making out with you. That's gross.
Yeah, absolutely.
Again, some Purple Man stuff here. And even worse, it's not just like mind controlling her into that. It's mind controlling her into thinking that she's a slave owner.
Yeah, dude. This all like narratively makes sense because it's the age or whatever that he keeps bringing her back to. But like, I really didn't need to see Jean Grey like calling her best friend Aurora Monroe a slave and like whipping her and threatening to kill her and saying that she owns her. Like, maybe we could just not do that, writers.
It's pretty fucked up.
Seriously,
like,
fucked up.
I think at the first time I read this, I was less sensitive to stuff like that. So I think it had the intended effect, which is just kind of like an extremity or like a shock to it. Now, in retrospect, it does seem like a little little eye rolly.
It feels like Stephen King doing I just mentioned this on another podcast, but Stephen King writing like the caricature black language for one of the Dark Tower books, and it's like, do you gotta? Could you?
Yeah. You certainly don't gotta do that.
Any other way you could make this point? Maybe.
Old white guy from Maine. So while this is happening, Cyclops is very upset that he can't see, and he's thinking back on what had happened when they're on the Butte for their week-long sex picnic. After they did it, she says, like, I'd like to form a permanent psychic bond with you. So just like, I'll be part of you, you'll be part of me. I know it's a lot of intimacy and trust. I'll understand if you say no. And he's like, yeah. Which does lend credence to your, like, these are two mid-20-year-olds who just had sex for the first time.
I'm not saying it's Jean's first time. I'm saying it's Cyclops' first time.
Oh, got you.
Because I guarantee you, in the 10 minutes after the first time I had sex, if that chick had been like, you want to form a permanent psychic bond? I'd been like, do we get to do that again? Because I'll be better the next time.
Yeah.
And yes.
Yeah, it's the post early on when sex is 100% a novelty, the post-sex like rush of endorphins. I'm glad no one's ever proposed to me. I just they're doing that. He's saying they have this bond, so he's going to try to work this bond, to break her out of this.
And meanwhile, like, we get Shaw confessing what their kind of plan for all of this was, because Nightcrawler is like, why are we alive? Like, this makes no sense. You guys suck. And
this is all fucking weird, dude.
And Shaw says that they're going to use them for genetic engineering to create limitless mutants, and they're going to be the X-Men are going to be their guinea pigs, which okay.
Certainly not what Emma Frost had in mind.
Doesn't seem like it at all.
Yeah. We do two interludes. This is a Chris Claremont thing. They're both pretty disposable. One on Muir Island with Banshee and Moira McTaggart, where she's stayed up all night analyzing Phoenix stuff and has decided that Phoenix is very powerful.
Good job.
Not great. One thing, when reading this, I was thinking about this. Isn't it weird that we got a movie Moira McTaggart and it was that CIA agent from like 3 of the X-Men movies?
It's really weird.
It's really weird. Like, I don't like, there's a cinematic Moira McTaggart. But they're just like, let's not, screw around. Let's not fool around. Let's just, I
love,
pray for our friends.
I gotta say, I just props to, Banshee for coming in and be like, hey, Moira, do you want to run around the island? And she's like, absolutely not. And he's like, you want to fuck instead? And she's like,
and she'd be down for that.
Nah,
she's like, the spirit's willing, but the flesh is beat. I can't do it. But I like their relationship.
Yeah, me too.
You want to fool around? The multiple man's not looking, I don't think.
Multiple man definitely looking.
Multiple man is just in a side cabin giving himself circle jerks. Giving himself the stranger and the stranger and the stranger and the stranger and the stranger. We cut over to another interlude where it's Angel and Professor Xavier talking, and this is where Xavier is having his like come to Jesus moment about how he's been being a dick, and how he's really just upset that he can't monitor them.
And he kind of admits to like resenting Cyclops a little bit for kind of taking this over, which I think is very cool.
Yeah, very mature of you, Xavier. Cut on over to Wolverine getting out of a dumbwaiter, which I love, with more just rank and file Hellfire staff, which I love. How's the champagne holding up, Mary? Better than my feet, Lou. Just Dorks.
Oh man, having had to work like some weird jobs in my past, like I don't know, man, like having to dress up like this to serve a dinner party would be just a fucking nightmare, right?
Yeah. You ever seen Party Down?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that show's great.
All of it, like several times. I fucking love Party Down, dude.
That's great.
What do you mean? It's super salad. It's self-explanatory.
So Wolverine's like, I can't get up the stairs without going right through the dance floor. And as he's considering this, one of the Hellfire Club guys puts a gun to his head and says, "Freeze, sucker." No. We cut over to Cyclops having to be there and listen to the Hellfire Club all hitting on his wife.
Yes.
His woman. And also negging the White Queen. Leland's like, "You're far more vivacious and exciting than your predecessor, the White Queen."
Poor Cyclops.
Like,
dude, it's brutal. It's so bad.
Yeah. Yeah, it's absolutely brutal.
But he's coping with this by escaping to the astral plane. And very quickly he's put into like an outfit from the 1800s, and he sees a door. And as he goes up to the door, he sees the Black Queen, who doesn't recognize him at all, but calls him like an American rebel, King George's enemy and mine. Like the role playing here, like I imagine that, like okay, it's great. I just kind of wanted to have sex. Like I didn't really want to get into the politics of this role play situation. Okay,
yeah. And my husband will cut you down. Mastermind comes out, and they get into a sword fight. Mm-hmm. This is, it's in the astral plane. It's not real, but I like this little metaphor. He's like, he's winning because he knows how to fight with a sword, but also he's, on the home field in the psychic plane.
Yeah.
Here he has the, control over Jean Grey right now.
Yes.
And he calls out this contradiction. Mastermind just had illusion powers. He never had mind control powers. Cyclops asks him how, and he says, "That's going to remain my secret, for now." So we don't find that out yet, but he's beating Cyclops until we come back over to Wolverine, who of course gun to his head is not a big deal, who causes a huge scene. He throws the Hellfire Club member into the dance floor and runs across, freaking out all the Hellfire Club guys with their cool bats.
Yeah,
the Wolverine beating Tonfas.
And this, like, they seem to win too. Like they're going to town on this guy, man. It's crazy that these like random dudes with clubs are getting one over on Wolverine of all people. We go back over to the astral plane where Mastermind has won the fight. He stabs Cyclops through, and Cyclops collapses on the ground in front of the rest of the X-Men, who are clueless. They have no idea that this battle was happening, right? They just have no clue. So they're like, what has happened? It's like, oh my god, Cyclops is dead. And that's where the issue is going to end.
A little Easter egg that at the Hellfire Club, Senator Kelly is there.
Yeah, we did mention that. Yeah,
they never show him, but he's just in the back.
It's very funny.
And this is going to lead into the Dark Phoenix popping up. But we're going to talk about that next set of episodes. 2 weeks.
We're going to keep going with more of this Uncanny X-Men. I forgot how much I like this. Like, it is silly and goofy, and I think anything from this time period would be kind of silly and goofy because especially like mainstream superhero stuff. But it just really feels like just really fun. Just like it kind of just sails by. Like, as goofy and as weird as it is, it's still fun, right?
Yeah, it's a blast. It's real good. I like this era of the X-Men. Not all the time. Like, I've tried to sit down and read the whole thing before. I always get a little exhausted. But as a place to occasionally visit, it's wonderful.
Yeah.
There's a reason it's a classic.
And this going into like all of the Dark Phoenix stuff where it gets super, super cosmic for kind of what feels like the first time. Like they've played with a lot of this stuff, of course, but like it feels like it gets fucking crazy. It's going to be really, really fun.
Yeah, I like it a lot. Looking forward to covering the rest of it. And then we'll figure out what we're doing after that. Who knows?
Yeah.
If you're hearing this, we appreciate you. You can head on over to patreon.com/Duckfeed.tv and support the entire network. Get some bonus shows, get access to Slack, get all kinds of stuff.
Yeah. Get the chance to make Gary and Cole play some really bad games on Abject Suffering.
Absolutely.
I got my email the other day, but I am fresh out of bad games to play, so I don't really know what to do, but I'm saving it.
Gotta come up with something.
I do, or I don't. That's probably what's going to happen. I'll just forget.
Yes, nothing will happen if you don't. It's not a contract or anything. But we appreciate
We do.
Appreciate everybody.
And if you can't support us directly on Patreon, maybe consider leaving ratings and reviews on various podcasting services. That helps the robots. It convinces the robots that people like us, which makes the robots think that other people will like us, which makes the robots service to those people. So help us out with that. Tell your friends and family about the podcast. And more importantly, just keep listening. We appreciate you.
Yeah. Umbasa.
Umbasa.